Hello world and welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial we are going to learn how to install React in your Windows local machine and how to get started with a hello world example real quick. We are also going to see why some of the documentations on the net or videos you might follow might not work for you if you're trying to install React. And we're also going to learn how to scale your application in case there are multiple components involved when you're using React. So without further ado, let's get started. First, open your command prompt or terminal if you're using a Mac and create a directory. We are going to name this React app directory. And we are going to place it in the folder desktop. There you go. Now we need to cd into our React app directory. Over here I'm going to call the command npm init to set up the package.json file and also the other npm modules that we might require with it. Now it asks me the package name. We are just going to leave it at the defaults so that we can concentrate on installing React only. There you go. That's it. Our package.json might have been created. We are going to go to the desktop and have a look at it. And we are going to do this by using Sublime Text Editor. There is our React app folder and we are going to press and hold and drag it into our Sublime Text folder and get it as a project. If you open the package.json file, you're going to find something like this. You can get rid of this line because we are not really going to use this line. And now we can start installing the other required dependencies. So first of all, if you go to your browser, I'm using Chrome over here. So first of all, for using React, we need two things. For React, we need a React component and we also need the React DOM package. These two packages are important for converting JSX to JavaScript because JSX is not JavaScript. It is a combination of a markup like syntax which can be used with JavaScript, an extension of JavaScript, right? So we need to install React and React DOM for that. So let's go ahead and install it. Open your terminal and type npm install React and React DOM. There you go. Press enter. And we are going to wait for React and React DOM installation. There you go. The packages have been added. Let's have a look. There we have React and React DOM installed as a dependency in our package.json file. Now we are going to need a compiler, or rather I would say a transpiler, Babel. What Babel does is, Babel is a transpiler that converts JavaScript ES6 syntax into ES5 because most browsers do support ES5, right? So we cannot leave the code as an ES6. We need to get it transpiled into another code that browsers can render, that is ES5 syntax. And because React favors ES6 syntax, we need to use a Babel package also. Now let's go ahead and see how to install Babel. There, this is Babel. You can have a look at how it is converting ES6 syntax into browser compatible ES5 syntax right over here. Now what we are going to do is set it up. Now if you go through the docs, you'll see that they always prefer a server-side installation of Babel and not on the browser side. That is because you wouldn't want to depend on the browser when you are uploading your Babel scripts. You want them to be transpiled way ahead of time and it should be ready for production, and hence they want you to transpile, and it is recommended that you transpile all your ES6 scripts on the server side and then you upload the code onto the server. So this is how you install it in your server side, a compiler on your server side. So you need this code, you need to copy this code like this and go to your command prompt and paste that code. Now notice here that we are using --save -dev, right? So sorry about that. Yeah, we are using --save -dev. What this does is it is going to create another dependency called developer dependency, and it is going to store Babel over there. We are going to understand why in a second. There you go, it's installing. So let's look at why we used save dev. Now React, if you noticed, React was installed inside dependencies. Why? Because we need React to be rendered in the production system while our server is on and our web pages are up. The rendering needs to be done on the server, on the prompt, on the fly, and hence the dependency. And there you go, Babel has been installed and it's in dev dependency. Why? Because once we transpile our code from ES6 to ES5, we do not need Babel anymore because we are going to use the transpiled script on the browser. We do not need to use Babel anymore, and hence this is a developer dependency, and it is only going to stay while we are testing our code for production, for development, when we are only working in the development environment. Hence dev dependency. We do not need it as a real dependency, right? Hence we saved it in dev dependency. Now, are we ready for React? Let's check it out. First, we have already installed Babel. Now we'll need something else called a preset for Babel. Now what is a preset? Preset is what you need in order to run the various things with Babel. So that is how you use Babel. This is just installation of Babel, and in order to use Babel you need to install a preset. So there, if you scroll down a bit, you'll see that there they have it right here. You need to create a .babel rc configuration file in your computer for enabling this preset. So we are going to do that straight ahead. Let's jump over to the Sublime Text and right click and create new file. We are going to name it .babel rc. You can see there's a Babel icon right there. Okay, so this is a Babel configuration file. We are going to store all our presets right over here. So what are presets? So you can see this is the preset we are talking about. This is what's going to go in your .babel rc configuration file. So we are just going to copy this and paste it right here. But before that, we need to install Babel, this preset env, to our developer dependency. So let's copy that, go to our command prompt, and we are going to paste it right here. There you go. And that's installing the preset environment. Now what this preset would do is it will convert ES6 to ES5. Now we also need something else. What is that? It is to convert JSX to JavaScript that can be rendered by the browser. Now JSX is not converted by preset environment itself. It's a React specific feature, that is JSX, and for that we need another preset for Babel. So let's type Babel React, and unsurprisingly enough it is called React preset at Babel/React preset. So we also need this preset, and we are going to not copy the entire code but just this part, because we are installing preset React and we are adding it to our preset file which already has this preset environment, and we do that with a comma. And there you go, install the new preset React. And before that we also need to install this Babel preset React. So let's copy this, go to your browser. As we can see, preset environment has been installed, and we are going to copy this, and preset React needs to be installed in the developer dependencies. So let's go ahead and install it. Now there you can see the preset env has been installed, and within some time we are also going to see React preset being installed. And with that we have got all the tools you need to get started with adding React to your website and getting started with the Hello World ASAP. Now, if you go back, now what we need to do here is the script part is empty. So you need not use this, but it is recommended that you use this way of building your React script because it makes things much easier. So we are going to run the command Babel SRC -d lib. Now, what does this script do? It is same as typing Babel SRC -d lib inside your command prompt. Now, what this shall do is this shall take a file from the source, or take all files in a directory called source, which has ES6 syntax, and it is going to convert it into ES5 and store it in lib folder. Now, do we have source folder and lib folder? No. So we need to create a source folder. So let's create that. We are going to name it SRC source. So in our SRC folder, we are going to put all our scripts with ES6 syntax, and then it is going to get converted when we run this command, when we run this script, and will be stored in another folder called lib. This lib folder will be created automatically once we transpile our scripts. So let's put all our scripts into SRC. So let's create a new file inside SRC. We are going to name this test.js. Wonderful. So there you see SRC has a test.js file. So a simple React would look something like this. React DOM.render and here we've specified what to render, in our case a hello world, and then with a comma we are going to get where we want to render it. So where do we want to render it? For that we need another file, that is the real HTML file, which is going to run this JavaScript. So that we'll name it as index.html. This will be our main file. So let's create it real quickly. We'll name this React app, and in the body we need to do two things. Let's create a div. We'll give it ID of root. Okay, so since we have given it an ID of root, in test.js we need to load this hello world inside this ID of root. So let's go back to test.js and we are going to use document dot get element by ID, and we are going to write root right here. So what this is going to do is it's going to take the root div in index.html and replace it with this piece of code right over here, that is hello world with the h1 tag right over here. But we also need to connect index.html with test.js. How do we do that? We are going to write script, and let's get rid of that, we don't need it. SRC equals to, yes, that's right, SRC slash test.js. Now are we ready? Let's run this and see what happens. Right click, open in browser. There, you see nothing happens. If we inspect it, we are going to see unexpected expected token over here at test.js line number 2. So it is referring to this line, so it does not recognize this JSX syntax. So obviously there is something wrong over here. Now we need to transpile it first and store it in lib. Remember, in package.json we need to transpile our JS6 syntax into JS5. So let's do that. I'm sorry, I meant ES5. So let's do that. You need to run npm run build, and the build scripts are going to run. There you see, it has run successfully, And now we can see there is a live folder created, and over here we have another file, test.js, which is exactly the same as, there you go, as test.js in SRC file, but it has converted everything to JavaScript ES5 syntax. Excellent. Now there's one more change we need to do. Yes, you're right. We need to change this SRC to lib, because that is what browsers can read. Right? So after we change that, now let's run it in the browser and see if it works. Oh, it still doesn't work. Now why is that? Let's inspect what went wrong. It says React DOM is not defined, but we did define it, right? No, we didn't. Now let's look at what went wrong. Yes, over here what we missed was in test.js, react.dom is something which we need to import first before using it. So we need to write import, this is ES6 syntax, import react from where? Right, react, because remember in package.json we installed a dependency react and react DOM. So from here we need to import the names react before using it. So in test.js we import react. Now we also need to import another thing, that is react DOM. That's right, react DOM from react DOM. Now we have imported react DOM, so it should work perfectly. Let us see if it works perfectly or not. Let's open it in browser. Oh no, it still doesn't work. Now what's wrong? Of course we didn't transpile it again. Let's transpile it. Okay, and go back to our index.html and open. Still doesn't run. Why is that? Now this is very important. Listen to this very carefully. It says require is not defined. Now what does it mean by that? Let's go back to Sublime and look at what our test.json live folder looks like. Here you'll see our import statements have been converted to require, and require is ES5 syntax, right? So we could have written this as var react require react instead of the import statement. Now the problem why this didn't work, though this is a perfectly acceptable syntax for ES5, is that React is used in server-side node scripting. So require is part of node. But what we are doing with React is we are coding on the client side, and the client side does not recognize the required keyword. Again, to repeat, require is used for Node.js, that is server-side scripting. So the server side does recognize when you use require or when you use import, but the client side does not recognize the require keyword, and hence it says that require is undefined. So how do we get around it? So this is one of the problems that you might face if you just follow the documentations given to add React to your website. So there's a little workaround this, and for that what we need to do is, firstly, before doing that, I need to specify that this method works even if you do not install React and React DOM as a dependency, because by doing this you need to import React and React DOM, but we are going to get rid of that because it's certainly not working. And the method I'm going to show you does not require React and React DOM to be installed. I just did it to show you why it does not work. So what we are going to do here is we are going to go back to our browser, and then we are going to go to React website. There you go, reactjs.org, the first one. And here we are going to go to docs about installing it. And here in installation we have something called CDN links. So these two files are the CDNs to React and React DOM respectively, as given as script tags. So we are going to quickly copy this and go back to our index.html file and paste it in the head. So let's give a tab right there. Yeah, and now React and React DOM development.js are right over here. CDN links are right here. So from here we can load the React and React DOM. So when the scripts are running, React and React DOM are already also running and they are defined, and hence we can run this piece of code, that is react dom.render code from test.js when this script runs, right? So what's happening is that we have taken the React and React.com, which we were previously importing from an npm package. We are not importing it anymore from the npm packages. What we are doing is we are directly taking it from a CDN using the script tags. But we still need to compile our ES6 syntax into ES5, or transpile to be precise, into ES5 syntax. But for JSX, these two lines are going to take care of the JSX. To repeat, ES6 to ES5 conversion will be done by this piece of code that we have written over here. That is, we are going to use Babel to transpile ES6 to ES5, and for converting JSX to browser readable JavaScript, these two lines are going to take care of it. So let's see if it all works. We are going to open this again and transpile our code again, because we just removed those two import lines of React and React DOM. There we go, we transpiled it again. So let's see, yeah, there you go, there is no more require keyword in the transpiled test.js file. Great, so let's run it. So if everything has been set up correctly, it should display hello world with an H1 in the browser. So let's go ahead and open it in browser, and there you go, excellent. And we have our hello world ready, and it is totally created with React by adding it to our website and without using the create React app that gets everything for you. That's how you add React to a part of the website. Instead, it's especially useful when you're not creating single page applications, or when you do not want React to be on the whole page and just a part of it are component based, or just a few corners or portions of it need to work with components, and you just need to add React to specific portions of the page. That's when this method is useful. So this is where you do not need to use create React app. Another thing to note here is that we did all of this without using other module bundlers as Browserify or Webpack. So that is great when only parts of your web page require React, and this is not some React heavy application where there are a lot of dependencies or modules, and hence Webpack would be required. So we did it without Webpack. Another thing to note, as I have mentioned earlier, is that we are not using these two dependencies. What we are using is, we have not npm installed these dependencies. It would still work because we are not using npm at all. We are directly using these two CDN links to convert JSX to browser readable JavaScript. However, we still do need ES6 to ES5 JavaScript conversion, and for that we'll be using Babel that we got from package.json file. And to recap, for using Babel, we not only need to install Babel CLI and core, but we also need to install presets, that is preset env to be specific. We do not need preset React anymore. We need preset env for Babel, and that we need to mention in our .babel rc file as to what presets we have used. So that's how you configure React, and thank you so much for joining me on this tutorial. Until then, enjoy coding. See you again next time.